We are, looks like we're live. So welcome everyone to the 29-minute Hangout. This is Chef Doug along with Chef Katrina and a very special guest tonight. Because this is only 29 minutes, we're going to keep our intros pretty short. Chef Katrina, I'll turn it over to you for the housekeeping stuff, and then I'll even let you introduce our guest tonight since he's a member of our very elite Team on Fire group. But so do the introductions. I'll turn it over to you.
So welcome everybody to the 29-minute Hangout. I'm so excited to be here with Chef Doug, an amazing partner and leader. We've masterminded together for almost a year now. Have you realized that? Like, we have been together at this for a year. So super excited to have you here. And you guys, remember, this is totally interactive. The more you ask questions, the more you engage in this 29-minute Hangout, the more valuable it is to you. And we always try to bring you the best and the most elite guests out there and really pick their minds and brains. So super excited to bring to you guys tonight Shane Petty. He has been a leader inside of our EMP Team on Fire. I have watched him come so far inside this group. He has been creating his own products. This guy is a beast. I am super proud of what he's accomplished and where he's going with his business. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce Shane Petty, and I want you to do me a huge favor. Kind of introduce yourself to us. Give us a little bit of your backstory, kind of how you found this world of internet marketing and what led you to where you are now and all the product creation that you're doing.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and really kudos to you guys, because when I first started with Elite Marketing Pro, y'all were doing the 60-day challenge, and that really helped jumpstart my thinking and gave me a good swift kick in the rear to actually start doing things. So thank both of you for that. So my background, I've been in traditional marketing, was in traditional marketing for quite some time. Started at a health education company. I was an intern right out of college. They hired me before I graduated, and I was an editor. And then along came this thing called the World Wide Web in the late 90s, 96-ish, and I convinced them to slap down a few bones to get some domain names, and that kind of started my journey into the World Wide Web. As far as internet marketing, I helped a college friend, not roommate, but one of my friends from college. He is an inventor, and I helped him launch a biotech company in 2009, and he asked me to do the marketing for him, which was the internet marketing side as well. And so I kind of handled the email campaigns and getting the people to opt in to those online, and we grew the business and eventually sold it in 2011. At that point, then I started looking for something to do myself, and the journey took me to a couple different businesses, doing some things, and then joining a multi-level marketing company, and then trying to figure out how to do this thing called networking and doing it online, which then led me to magnetic sponsoring, which then led me to Elite Marketing Pro. And so that was in a little over a year ago that I started with Elite Marketing Pro, and it was 2 years, a little over 2 years ago, that I started with the network marketing business. Since then, I've been using the skills to kind of couple those things with helping other entrepreneurs and local businesses with those same skills from Elite Marketing Pro.
Great. So what you've done is, there's so many people that I see that kind of follow this path, and they start kind of looking for something online, and then they find a network marketing company, and they struggle with that. So they look for help to with their marketing. How do I God, talk to everybody I know. Now I don't have any friends left.
Exactly.
How do I find some other people to do that? To do that too. And it's kind of how it feels. It's like, how do I do this to people that I don't know instead of doing it to my friends? But really, it comes down to how do I expand my reach to connect with other people, and then over the course of that, not only do you learn how to connect with other people, but you also learn how to not do it to other people. You start to, you learn how to do things for other people, and so, but you learn marketing skills that then you can apply to other ventures. And so you've branched out a little bit too, beyond the network marketing side of things, into offline, using your online skills, online and offline, for other businesses. And let's talk a little bit about that and what you're doing right now.
Sure. Yeah. So I realized early on when I started evaluating Elite Marketing Pro, I kind of took it slow because I wanted to make sure that it was solid and that people could actually use it and get a tremendous amount of value out of it. So basically, through my learning with Elite Marketing Pro and going through the different trainings and being associated with the private masterminds and so forth, you realize very quickly that, oh, you can really use this for any business. It's not just the networking. Those skills that you would learn in a network marketing company, those translate. Those are universal. These are universal principles of marketing and marketing online that you begin to realize that, wait a second, I can really do anything that I can dream about and dream of and think about. So what I started doing early on was I was interested in helping entrepreneurs and local businesses, and so what I've learned through this is I can take the skills that I have gotten from here and help them think through, what is your ideal customer, where are they hanging out, what kind of value can you provide to them. And so I've done this process over and over. I even have a friend that's in China that has a recruiting business that I'm using the very same things to help him with his business over there. We just had a call on Skype the other night. And I just said, hey, Jim, who's your ideal customer? And then he gave it to me, and just like Katrina did to me, you got to be more specific. No, be more specific. And I kept telling him that you got to be more specific, because the better you can do that, the better your business will be in growing. And so he's used these things, and he's doubled his business over the past year and a half.
So that's a great testimonial to to what you've learned, and I think too. I mean, we talk about Elite Marketing Pro as being the system where it's kind of like that was our training wheels, and now we're taking that and now we're actually riding the bike, and even though we don't need Elite Marketing Pro for our own marketing skills necessarily, it's something that it's a tool that we have in the box to be able to teach others, and it's a way that others can get started. Because if you had to do everything that you're doing right now without that, it's just too much. For anybody that's beginning, it's way too much. So yeah, so I mean that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about where you're at now. I mean, obviously you've got clients all over the globe, and again, that's the power of the internet. And so
yeah, sure.
So what's your main focus right now? What are you doing right now?
So initially I started off and I was really gung-ho. I want to grow this network marketing business, and I realized with Elite Marketing Pro that, hey, I can use this for any business, for multiple passions that I have with helping entrepreneurs. So where I'm at right now is I went ahead and I used like the training wheels, like you said, and figured out the process, went through, and I would encourage everybody that you have to do. It's kind of like doing math when you're in school. They make you do the long way, and they make you you're like, I have a calculator right here, I don't need to do this. Well, no, you need to understand the process. And so I would encourage everybody, you need to understand the process, because without that you're going to be shortchanging yourself, and in the long run you're going to be hurting yourself and your business. So I went through the process. I created my Elite Marketing Pro blog. I started blogging on it. I started sending those links out and using that process, using the capture page builder. And then eventually, after working with y'all, going through the 60-day challenge, I realized, you know what, I really need a unique selling proposition. What's my USP? And so what I did was then I took that stuff that I learned and I kind of created my own training and my own PDFs. And then I have my own blog, and I just simply launched that there, followed the same process that EMP teaches, and just did it on my own blog. And from there, I just began reaching out and networking with people. The interesting thing is I just had a gentleman just before this call from my neighborhood. We're in the neighborhood homeowners association group on Facebook, and they have a little deal where they posted and said, hey, if you have a business and you help, whatever you do, post it on here. So I posted, I help small business owners and I network marketers. And lo and behold, he contacts me, another guy named Jim, seems to be a trend in my contacts, but another guy named Jim contacts me last week. I go over for coffee. He and his wife are doing a network marketing opportunity, and they want to do the deal, so he signed up. So it's both online and offline. You just never know when you start making those connections and you start providing value. I had another guy that is just up the road from me in Texas here in Austin, has been on my list since last November. He calls me up and says, I'm ready to do the deal, and before I know it, actually he didn't call me up. He starts buying things before I even woke up. He's going VIP. And I get up and I'm looking at it and I'm going, what's going on here? So I call Nick up, a couple hours later. I'm like, hey, I saw you're ready to do this. He's ready. He's been saving up to do it. Doesn't even know what business he's going to do yet. Just knows that he needs this EMP vehicle to make the business roll. He's looking at different opportunities in network marketing, but he didn't even have that. He just knew that he needed to do this based on the value that I gave him from the stuff that I learned. And that's really where I see it right now. But I think a lot of people, they quit before they get to that real crux point where it's gonna start taking off and explode.
So I have a question for you, because you guys, both you and Doug, have mentioned this word over and over and over again. You talk about this word skills, these skills that you have learned. For a lot of our viewers and a lot of our listeners here, they don't know what a skill is. What possible skills can they learn from Elite Marketing Pro? I mean, as a network marketer, we know most people, and it's out there, I mean, even myself was more concerned about how do I get leads for my opportunity in my business. How is Elite Marketing Pro teaching you skills, and what skills are they teaching you that my upline in my company is not teaching me? Like, what am I missing?
Well, here's the interesting thing, Katrina, and I'll just lay it all out there raw, because it's a little embarrassing, but I will lay it out anyway. So I've been doing marketing since the early 2000s, and I had to unlearn that traditional marketing, because the attraction marketing, it goes in the opposite direction of traditional marketing. The other thing is I had the aha moment, after really doing the attraction marketing for that biotech company with the email campaigns and so forth. I still didn't kind of clue in. I was kind of like, it was later, and I was like, what? Oh yeah, well yeah, it's obvious now. So I think people that come in that say I don't have any skills, they almost have an advantage over people who have been doing things the traditional way, if you want to call it that, right? Like, I had to unlearn this interruption marketing kind of methodology, right? To where, all right, I got to be patient now. I'm putting value out there, just like the Nick and Austin, who decided, almost 6 months later, that this is what he wants to be involved with. That I could have easily given up on Nick and thrown him out of my email campaigns and not followed up with him at all anymore. And so the skills, I think, come with just being patient and being willing to change your mindset first and foremost, and then really listening to people who have been there, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that they made, and you can benefit from that, right? That's the challenge. So
what were two skills that you can pinpoint exactly, like 2 skills that you really have applied? Because when I think of skill in my mind, it's a technical thing. It's something that you actionably do as a skill. So what were 2 skills for you that are you've basically learned from EMP that?
I think Katrina froze up on us there for a second, but
yeah, so 2 of the skills. So I would say first and foremost the idea. Let's see, the skill of being available to have what you think you know you don't know. I think most people are set and they're not willing to move from that mindset of this is what I've always done, this is what I understand, and I think that's what happens. I'll just use network marketing for example. You know, the standard thing is, you know, write your 100 people down for your warm, you know, your warm or hot list. Go reach out to those people, go to those meetings, go to the hotel meetings, so forth and so on. If that's where it ends, I'm not saying that people can't do that and be effective. They can. But I think if that's where it stops and people, that's the only tool they have in their belt, then it's going to be tough when those things don't start panning out, you know, quite the way they thought anymore. I think the second skill would be a technical skill in that regard of how do you create a capture page or an ad or something of value that will lead them to give you their name and email, and then what do you do with it after that? And most people want to shortcut this whole process. They want to say, just give me the canned swipe file mumbo jumbo and I'll send it to them. Well, you're shortcutting, and it's at your own, you know, your fate is going to be determined by this. If you put the time in, and you know this with blogging, Katrina, you've put the hours, the miles in on the blogging, and it's day in and day out and day in, and you too, Doug, the blogging. It's not a short process, and people, I think, get them in their mind that this is going to be quick and, you know, easy. And so I think those 2 things, just having the ability to be open to having my mindset changed, and then also the real technical skill of nurturing that lead once it's in.
yeah, so I think what, you know, if I'm hearing you correctly, you know, what most people talk about when they join a company, if we're talking about a network company, they have you write your list, like you said, of 100 people. Mm-hmm. Really what it comes down to with any business, doesn't matter whether it's network marketing or whether it's you're starting a coffee shop down the street, or I've got a buddy that wants to start a kombucha store, you know. But anything like that, it's all about how do you create leads or generate leads. Once you get those people, how do you capture the information? How do you capture the contact information for those people? It can be face-to-face, so you may already know them. The second step is building a relationship with them.
Absolutely.
If you're doing it offline, you know, you meet with them for coffee, you nurture that relationship. If it's online, you can't meet them for coffee. So how do you nurture that relationship? Typically, you're going to do it through an email follow-up, or if you're on social media, you're going to send messages back and forth, but you're going to communicate, and you're going to build a relationship, and then you can actually make a profit down the road by recommending things to people you've built a relationship with. Say, you know, you find out what's important to them, and you offer them a solution to things that, you know, that they have a need for. You know, if they have a problem, you say, you know what, I might have a solution for you, check this out. And that's any business. It doesn't matter what it is. Hey, I've got a flat tire. I need to find somebody that can fix that tire for me. Where are you going to go? You're not going to go online to get a tire, but 90% of the people that are going to buy something locally, they look online first for where can I find it.
Yep.
And so if you know, that the skills that you're talking, that I think that Katrina was trying to get at, is the skills in terms of internet marketing are that you've learned how to connect with people online, how to get information, capture their information or connect with people and build a relationship with them. And then you can make recommendations to them for how to solve their problems. And it's simple. When it comes
Absolutely.
down to that, it's a simple three-step process. At the same time, at the same time, there are steps that you have to take to be able to do that, and those are the skills that everybody needs. You need to know how to create a capture page, what to do with that information once you get it, and then how to follow up with them, through email or otherwise, and so on.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to tag in real quick. Hillary has been actually asking and commenting here on the side in the Q&A, and I want to just give a shout out to this one because she actually mentioned that it was interesting that Shane said that he had to unlearn. I think a lot of people, when we get online, have a hard time showing people who are old school marketers this new method. Have you come across that problem at all, Shane, in terms of who you're talking to? Getting them to kind of unlearn a traditional marketing method, maybe the traditional network marketing method, and get them to kind of embrace a more internet, social media method.
So I would say, well, personally, I haven't come across people that have been in the place where they have to unlearn, at least not in the regards that I did, because I just had so much of it. I think from the people that I've interacted with online, and through LinkedIn messages and Facebook messages and so forth, the challenge is they want to lead with the product and not the value. And so, as we know, when I say that, I mean most people want to lead with, as Doug said, they want to lead with the tire. They want to lead with this, vitamin supplement. They want to lead with this XYZ widget that they're selling or offering as an affiliate. The problem with that is you just look like a sales doofus, that you're trying to be Slick Willy and make a quick buck. People don't trust that anymore. They didn't trust it before, and they sure don't trust it now with all the internet hype. So I think the challenge that I've had, more than having to get people to unlearn, is to get people to understand the value proposition, and that they will become a better leader when they offer value, which will then in turn attract people to them, not because of what they're selling, not because of the wares they're hawking, but because of the value they are as a leader, and that they can help those people be successful. Just attraction marketing basics, but that's really what I've encountered more frequently than having to try to get somebody to unlearn something.
Valid point. And I would like to tag in again. I mean, you've made some really great points, and Hillary tagged on to something you had said earlier about how everyone thinks that if you're on the internet, everything's got to happen fast, right? Because you touch the internet and you can get these resources at the tip of your finger. So the expectation is that if I go on the internet, I'm going to start generating 1,000 leads tomorrow. What has been your experience with that?
Oh boy. Well, let's just say I've paid the Facebook tax several times over. I know how to do Facebook now, but and even there's some great trainings with Elite Marketing Pro, but there is this level of you still got to figure it out, kind of in a way that makes sense for you as well. Generating leads. That mentality, I think I had to break myself as well. Of I have a lead now, they've been in my funnel for 3 weeks now. Why aren't they buying anything? And that's hard because you're kind of pouring your heart out, like, hey, I've given you my best stuff. Come on, you don't even want to do a $1 trial? What's wrong with you? And it's disheartening because you're like, man, these people are cheap. And so then you're like, well, maybe I'm giving them too much value because they're not buying anything. I gotta cut it off at some point and say, hey, you gotta pay up to play if you want to stay in the game or get lost. And that's tough. But I think that's what I've had to learn is the patience factor there. In it doesn't matter. You get that. You know, if they buy something, that's great. If they don't, then it's okay. And that's where you have to kind of settle in, I think, is the ultimatum. So.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of topics there that that are it would take way more than 29 minutes. But essentially, yeah. I mean, when you first get started in this, you really, I mean, all of us have been there. It's like we're just getting started, we're just learning, and we feel like we have no value, and so we give away everything for free. But then, as you learn, once you've generated a lead, I mean, you have a lot of value because now you know how to do it, but you still don't feel like you have value. So you still give it all away for free. But at some point, you just have to say, you know what, now's the time. I'm worth more than this, and here I'll tell you. Here's what you need to do, and I can show you. Here's the things that you need to do it. And but from this point on, I can't continue working for free. I got to put food on the table. And so if you'd like to connect with me and have me show you how to do it, that's great. Let's do it in a way that it benefits both of us. And it's not just a one-way deal. So, but yeah, that's great. I'm going to be quiet. Katrina, I think we're getting close to time. Shane, how can people connect with you? And I know you've got some, from what you've just been talking about, you've got some great value out there that you're not charging for. But for those of you that go to Shane's website, buy something. Okay.
Yeah,
but how can people connect to you? How can they find you?
Sure, I'm on Twitter. It's Shane SHANE _Petty PETTY. And if you look for me on LinkedIn, I'm also available on LinkedIn. Those are probably the easiest ways to connect with me. And I have my website. I don't know if you guys are we plugging websites or?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just making sure. It's called MLMbusinessinsanity.com, and that's basically where I just put some a 7-part online marketing training on there. Basically, same things I learned from the chefs here during the 60-day challenge. I just compiled it up and made some PDFs, and so I have some videos that I did. And it's the videos are available for free. What I did was I made the videos available for free. Anybody can watch those. And then the catch is if they want the PDF handouts, they opt in. And so that's where I gave the value without necessarily forcing them, but most people do want the PDFs.
But all they have to do to get the PDFs is give you their email. Is that right?
Yeah, name and email. That's it.
Yeah. So you're still giving that away.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Value.
Yeah, we have to talk.
So definitely connect with Shane. Find him on Twitter. Find him on LinkedIn. I know he's very active on LinkedIn. I think if we can ever get you back on here, I want to learn more about LinkedIn from you because I think that's an area a lot of people don't play enough on or play full out on enough. We keep getting talked about everything else. But I'm also going to give a shout out to Gary. He's been kind of commenting in the background for Q&A. He's definitely talked about the invest, learn, teach, duplicate equals profit, which is something you've absolutely grasped and have started playing more full out in. So thank you so much, Shane, for being on with us. We are going to have to wrap it up. We're down to our last about 30 seconds. Doug, you got anything to add to the 29?
I'll let you finish it up. Thanks, Shane, for everything. And for those of you that are listening, get to Shane's website fast before he starts charging for that stuff.
Absolutely. So, guys, thanks again for joining us on this 29-minute Hangout. You can find us on the Google Plus page at Elite Marketing Chefs. So find us on Google Plus for that one. Also, you can catch the replays of these Hangouts on iTunes. Just look for us on the 29-minute Hangout. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you next week with our very special guest who we haven't revealed to you, but we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.